Hey guys, it's your girl Angelique Michelle here, and I am back with another Project Inspire Positivity video. So, as you guys know, we are going through the Complete 101 series by John C. Maxwell, and I'm super excited. This week we're going to be talking about Self-Improvement 101. This is something that I think everyone needs to have. I mean, the 101 series is so important for so many reasons, but self-improvement and self-growth is definitely on the top 3 things that we all need to be working on. So I'm super excited to go over this with you guys. I, of course, have notes here. I have quite a few pages of notes. I printed them out this time versus writing them. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you take a few key points away from this and apply them to your life. I'm just super excited to go over it with you guys. It was really interesting to read. And of course, the book is, only 100 or so pages, just like Attitude 101, just like the other book. So it's a really simple, easy read, and it really just condenses everything you need to know in just a few pages. So I really absolutely love it, and I definitely recommend it. So definitely stay tuned for this video. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you learn something from it as well. So part 1 is focusing on laying a foundation for self-improvement. So what will it take for me to improve? John says that growth must be intentional, that nobody improves by accident. Robert Browning went on to say, why stay we on earth except to grow? Okay. Gal She says, if we don't change, we don't grow. If we don't grow, we are not living. Growth demands a temporary surrender of security. It may mean giving up familiar but limiting patterns, safe but unrewarding work, values no longer believed in, relationships that have lost their meaning. As Dostoevsky said, taking a new step, uttering a new word is what most people fear most. The fear should be the opposite course. Growth is a choice. So Tolstoy says, everyone thinks of changing the world, but nobody thinks of changing himself. So people who are unwilling to grow will never reach their potential. Nothing is more effective when it comes to reaching potential than a commitment to personal growth. So we must, 1, choose a life of growth. The only way to improve the quality of life is to improve yourself, and that's really the only ability that we have, is to improve ourselves. 2, start growing today. Napoleon Hill said, it's not what you are going to do, but it is what you're doing now that counts. And the old English proverb goes, one of these days means none of these days. So growth is not automatic, and growing today will provide a better tomorrow. Growth is your responsibility. Recognize the importance that personal growth plays in success and commit yourself to developing your potential today. You must, 3, focus on self-development, not self-fulfillment. 4, stay focused with current accomplishments. Rick Warren says the greatest enemy of tomorrow's success is today's success. So Sidney Harris insisted that a winner knows how much he still has to learn, even when he is considered an expert by others. A loser wants to be considered an expert by others before he has learned enough to know how little he knows. 5, be a continual leader. Henry Ford said, it has been my observation that most successful people get ahead during the time that people waste. And Frank A. Clark said, most of us learn a great deal every day in order to keep ahead of what we forget. 6, develop a plan for growth. Earl Nightingale was the one who said that if a person will spend 1 hour each day on the same subject for 5 years, that person will become an expert. So John came up with a 5-day plan. Monday, we must spend an hour reading a devotional to develop our spiritual lives. On Tuesday, we must spend 1 hour listening to a leadership podcast or audio lesson. Wednesday, spend an hour filing quotes and reflecting on the contents of Tuesday's tape. Thursday, spend 1 hour reading a book on leadership. Friday, spend half an hour reading the book on leadership, another half an hour reflecting on it. 7, pay the price. Self-fulfillment focuses on making a person happy, whereas self-development proposes to help each person reach potential. President Theodore Roosevelt stated, there has not been yet a person in our history who led a life of ease, whose name is worth remembering. 8, find a way to apply what you learn. Jim Rohn said, don't let your learning lead to knowledge, let your learning lead to action. Successful people develop positive daily habits that help them grow and learn. So you have to ask yourself, where can I use it? When can I use it? And who else needs it? So George Eliot said, it's never too late to become what you might have been. So if you want to become who you dreamed of becoming as a little kid, you just have to grow into that person. You have to keep developing yourself. So how can I grow in my career? Be better tomorrow than you are today, and intend your journey to be open-ended. The better you are, the more people listen. Competence is the key to credibility, and credibility is the key to influencing others. If people respect you, they will listen to you. President Abraham Lincoln said, I don't think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. The better you are, the greater your value today. Albert Hubert said, if what you did yesterday still looks big to you, you haven't done much today. And Bennis and Bert Nana stated, it is the capacity to develop and improve their skills that distinguishes leaders from followers. The better you are, the greater your potential for tomorrow. An investment in your growth is an investment in your ability, your adaptability, and your promotability. Ben Franklin said that by improving yourself, the world is made better. Be not afraid of growing slowly. Be afraid only of standing still. Forget your mistakes, but remember what they have taught you. So how do we do that? We have to, 1, learn our craft today. The best time to plant a tree is 25 years ago. The second best time is today. So Napoleon Hill stated, you can't change where you started, but you can change the direction you are going. It's not what you're going to do, but it's what you are doing now that counts. So 2, talk your craft today. 3, practice your craft. Jack Welch said, before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is about growing others. So learn your craft today, talk your craft, and then practice your craft. So how do I maintain a teachable attitude? So it's all about what you learn after you know it all, that counts. John Wooden said that. So 1, nothing is interesting if you are not interested in it. So you have to be interested in what you're doing, or it's just not going to appeal to you and you're going to have a problem growing and developing yourself. 2, successful people learn differently than those who are unsuccessful. 3, learning is meant to be a lifelong pursuit. So this is where John Maxwell goes into all of the jobs that he had growing up as a teenager, first jobs, and the lessons that they taught him. You can learn from everything. Even if you're working in a job that's not in your field, not where you want to go, everything has a teachable moment. 4, pride is the number 1 hindrance to teachability. So, how can we take our talent to the next level? We must learn to listen. We must understand the learning process. So step 1, we have to act. Step 2, we have to look at our mistakes and evaluate. Step 3, we have to search for a way to do it better. And step 4, we repeat the process again. And then we also have to look and plan teachable moments. So, Balthazar Gratian said, make your friends your teachers and mingle the pleasures of conversation with the advantages of instruction. 4, make your teachable moments count. And 5, ask yourself, am I really teachable? So the 10 questions you have to ask are, am I open to other people's ideas? Do I listen more than I speak? Am I open to changing my opinion based on new information? Do I readily admit when I'm wrong? Which I don't do. Do I observe more before acting on a situation? Do I ask questions? Am I willing to ask a question that will expose my ignorance? Am I open to doing things in a way I haven't done before? Am I willing to ask for directions? And do I act defensive when criticized, or do I listen openly for the truth? So John Wooden said also that everything we know, we learned from someone else. So we just have to keep that in mind. Everything that we already know, someone else has taught us. So why are we so against people teaching us now that we're adults or now that we're older? What roles do other people play in our growth? Well, there are 3 attitudes. No one can teach me anything is an arrogant attitude. Someone can teach me everything. That is a naive attitude. And everyone can teach me something is the teachable attitude that you want to have. Every person has something to share, whether that's a story, an experience, a life lesson. Everyone can teach you something. So we must make learning our passion. Philip B. Crosby, pay attention to this one. Philip B. Crosby said there is a theory of human behavior that says subconsciously people retard their own intellectual growth. They come to rely on cliches and habits. Once they reach the age of their own personal comfort with the world, they stop learning and their mind runs on idle for the rest of their days. They may progress organizationally, they may be ambitious and eager, and people may even work night and day, but they learn no more. We have to, 2, value people. 3, develop relationships with growth potential. Clifton and Paula Nelson said, relationships help define who we are and what we become. 4, identify people's uniqueness and strengths. Ralph Waldo Emerson remarked, I have never met a man who is not my superior in some particular. Everyone you meet is going to be better at you at something. You're not going to be the best, perfect person in every single aspect in your life. Someone's always going to be better at you at least one thing. 5, ask questions. How do we ask these questions? We can get a mentor. How do we pick a mentor? We have to ask ourselves these questions in regards to the person we're thinking of. Does my mentor's life deserve a following? Does my mentor's life have a following? What is the main strength that influences others to follow my mentor? Does my mentor produce other leaders? Is my mentor's strength reproducible in my life? If my mentor's strength is reproducible in my life, what steps must I take to develop and demonstrate that strength? Once we answer these questions and we have a mentor, we must then set guidelines for this relationship. We must clarify our levels of expectation. We must accept a subordinate learning position. We must respect the mentor, but don't idolize him. Immediately put into effect what we are learning. Be disciplined in relating to our mentor. Reward our mentor with our own progress and never threaten to give up because there is no substitute for your own personal growth. Part 2 is going to talk about the ongoing process of improvement. Where should I focus my time and my energy? So John says that to reach our potential, we must get in our strength zone. So we have to try to be patient and keep working hard. If we persevere, we'll get through it. No matter if you're just starting out or if you are at the peak of your career, the more you work in your strength zone, the more successful you will be. You must be intentional. Only your best will add values to others and lift them up. Samuel Johnson said, almost every man wastes part of his life in attempts to display qualities which he does not possess. So, we must 1, ask, what am I doing well? 2, get specific. Peter Drucker said the great mystery isn't that people do things badly, but that they occasionally do a few things well. The only thing that is universal is incompetence. Strength is always specific. Nobody ever commented, for example, that the great violinist Jascha probably couldn't play the trumpet well. 3, listen for what others praise. Your strengths will capture the attention in others and draw them to you. 4, check out the competition. Jack Welch stated that if you don't have the competitive advantage, don't compete. Jim Sundberg said, discover your uniqueness, then discipline yourself to develop it. So, to become a successful leader, we must find and develop the strength zones of our people. So, Peter Drucker reminds us that organizations exist to make people's strengths effective and their weaknesses irrelevant. So, if you desire to be an effective leader, you must develop the ability to develop people in their areas of strength. We must study and know the people who are on our team, and we must communicate to the individuals how and why they fit on the team. The more that people know they fit on the team, the more they will desire to properly make the most of their fit and maximize their contribution. We must then communicate to all team members how each player fits on the team and emphasize completing one another versus competing with one another. Working on a weakness in your strength zone will always produce greater results than working on a strength in your weak area. What role does experience play? Experience plus honest self-examination leads to wisdom. Experience teaches nothing, but evaluated experience teaches everything. We all experience more than we understand. Earl Wilson said, experience enables you to recognize a mistake when you make it again. Our attitude towards unplanned and unpleasant experiences determines our growth. Lack of experience is costly. Harry Golden said, the arrogance of the young is a direct result of not having known enough consequences. The turkey that every day greedily approaches the farmer who tosses him grain is not wrong. It's just that no one ever told him about Thanksgiving. Experience is also costly. Experience gives the test first and the lesson later. Not evaluating and learning from experience is more costly. Alan Newhart said, don't just learn something from every experience, learn something positive. Evaluated experience lifts a person above the crowd. And the final chapter goes into what am I willing to give up to keep growing? For everything you gain, John says you must give something up. So am I willing to give all that I have for a new level of growth? Max Dupree wrote, by avoiding risk, we really risk what is most important in life, reaching toward growth, our potential, and a true contribution to a common goal. So how do we do that? We must, 1, trade affirmation for accomplishment. 2, trade security for significance. 3, trade financial gain for future potential. 4, trade immediate pleasure for personal growth. 5, trade exploration for focus. So once you know what you're good at, start developing it and start creating it and stick with it. 6, trade quantity of life for quality of life. 7, trade acceptable for excellent. 8, trade addition for multiplication. 9, trade the first half for the second half. And 10, trade your work for God for a walk with God. So we must learn to offload before we try to reload. We must forget about what we did in the first half and start developing new ways to push our success further in the second half to go further than we did. We don't want to be stagnant. And that requires a willingness to make trades, because for everything you gain, you must give something. So if we want to have personal growth and personal development, we must forget about where we are now, forget about how comfortable we are now, and reach for that level of comfort, reach for pushing ourselves and focusing on our strengths and developing our strengths. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this session of the Complete 101 series on self-improvement. Self-improvement and self-growth is something that we all need to work on continuous every day, just like our attitude. It can't be something that we just become lax on, because we don't want to be stagnant and we don't want to just be comfortable with life. We want to constantly be reaching for that new level of growth. We want to maximize our potential and eventually just become super successful and positive people. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this session, and I hope to see you guys next time. Remember to always inspire some positivity today, guys. Bye.